Hello, it's Brendan from techbuzzireland. Today we have the Konftel 800. And we have used a few of the Konftel products before in the past. And this one's just a conference facility there. The one thing you'd notice straight away in the box is very, very minimalistic packaging. Doesn't give a huge amount of information on the packaging itself. Just the main thing, conference phone, and limited information on the back. The one thing I'll point out for it is climate neutral. Really, really good to see that particularly on the packaging there at the moment. To some people it may not pay much attention, but others it's a big deal breaker. Before you even open the box, it gives a little bit of confidence to say the brand, the manufacturer themselves are showing a bit of interest in the environment. And as such, there's a good chance, if they're doing that, there's a good chance that the product has some kind of positives as well. Going back to what you actually get, and that's the Konftel 800, that's the quick start guide. Gives you a main idea what's actually on it, the unit itself, standard cable there, USB cable, getting started, safety information there. And there's the connectivity and the setup. For this, on this purpose here at the moment, I'm going to use this particular sign setup. I'm going to use the main unit itself, connected to an optional PoE switch. This is not supplied, the injector, but you can buy it as an optional accessory itself and just use it, and I will give a demo of how that's actually set up itself. And then the connectivity. Major thing on this particular one is the daisy chain approach. So if it's in a small to large room, or you expand the room there, you can expand it there. And there's some of the other optional accessories you can get in. But in essence, when you're connecting, you can go to SIP approach, you can go to USB, you can go to Bluetooth to HD. And then you've got the near field communication, so you can connect this directly to your phone, for example, audio expansion ports, and it's got the PoE as I just mentioned. This one also is slightly different, as in it also comes with the ceiling mount. So the ceiling mount, I know one thing we're all familiar with as we go back into the office, trying to get a meeting room has become more of a challenge. And they're getting busier, some of the rooms are being converted. Having the option to put it on the ceiling gives you more flexibility. And again, instruction manuals there just tells you what it comes with there, and a quick start guide on the setup there, and I will go through this itself setup. So that's just a matter of the quick setup of how it's actually done. More importantly, you're probably wondering, what does it look like itself? On the unit itself, this is the unit way it comes itself. Before we go into too many details of there, we'll just have a quick look. It's got a display. We'll just flip it over. And these are actually the connection devices. They are the different particular sockets that you'll actually have. If in doubt, it's very clearly called out to say audio expansion ports, your main PoE switch, for example, connected into your laptop in there, and your connection over to your laptop can be connected here USB. So there's a USB connection on the bottom here as well. So you got your USB-C. So they're the main connections that typically, once it's connected up, most people don't actually look at, because somebody in IT normally connects that up. And mainly what you're really interested in is the front of the unit itself, the main settings. And that's the way it's connected. But before we go to how it's connected, PoE switch in the background. All we have here is power active, and we have one connection going into a PoE and one going directly into the network, and it's just plugged in with power. That's just a normal PoE switch, will work, and I just put that in to give an idea of there. I will say, when you look into the installations manual of this, there's actually installation and administration manual. It's about 200 pages. So when people say, can you do this, can you do that, you probably can do it, but it's 200 pages in English. Is a lot of information. So in essence, do you need to be an expert to actually set it up? No, you don't. Just your basic settings. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set it up very basically onto my phone and also on a laptop, so you can get a variety of the different ideas there. Within the settings themselves, you've got the status, you've got the phone, you've got all these different settings. And it gives you some idea what you can actually do with it. So Bluetooth, you can pair a new device. So in other words, when I've got my smartphone, I can connect it directly to the app itself. Gives you some idea what will actually connect it. So I can have it once the app is paired with my device. I've got calendar, I've got dual dial port, I've got recents, I've got contact. And these are the connections. And again, the different ideas. So there's a touch screen on those, and these are all the different options. Languages is kind of strange, as in there is a huge amount of languages that's available. So it's not just your total localized one there. But the manual, I do stress, was completely in English for the one I've actually used myself. And that can, within it, you got the daisy chain option, which means you can connect a variety of different audio microphones directly, especially using. One thing I really like about this is the factory reset. So when you actually do accidentally make a mistake and you incorrectly settings, you can always go back to default. So I'm always a fan of the reset button that allows me backwards or forwards to give me an idea. And there's a load of other settings in here that you can actually go back to. One thing to be aware of, when you do actually plug it in directly the first time, it does take time. It can take maybe nearly up to 5 minutes, maybe not exactly that length, to actually connect. It does go to until the network works on your own network to get an idea of what it's actually doing. So don't worry too much when you plug it in. The lights will start coming on and giving an example of this is the app that it comes with it directly. And there's a different options, but we'll just go into the calendar, for example. And I'm just going to pick next Tuesday. And I can see my normal calendar. So if I went into my Outlook, for example, calendar, I can see my variety of things. And these are the different meetings I have on. This one here tells me via my phone I can join via there, join via the mobile, join via the web. So these are just links directly. I can actually got participants who's actually on the call, etc. Something you would typically. So this is on my phone for my normal Outlook calendar that's just been compared. It does work for your Google, for example, also, etc. on those. But also what I can actually do then is I can go on and I can dial a directly number. So for example, an engineer is on site, he's got a problem. 3 or 4 people get onto a quick call. You can dial directly to it, and you can just dial it all the same facilities of the speaker that you would expect in a conference, rather than being thing. And you've got reasons who you've actually dialed, and you can create a group there at the moment. So you can just do a search of exact same thing as you would in your phone book. So you can dial, and you can create a group. So if you had a regular Tuesday call, for example, with a group of a team, you can go back to it. And that's an overview of the app itself. As I said, I can dial through the same functionality, and the volume control can be set via your phone or this particular unit itself. When I'm connecting to example Microsoft Teams call, what I'm doing is I'm connecting the USB directly into the unit here and directly into my laptop, and I'm connecting as I would normally do. There's nothing unusual on this. This is just your normal typical call. And one thing you'll find is when you're in the call itself, does it actually work? And if you have any issues, it suffers. Sometimes what you have to do is go down to the device settings, change the audio directly to the Konftel 800. Same thing if you listen to the likes of YouTube, for example, with this here, you might have to go down to the bottom right hand corner for a Windows laptop to connect. But more importantly, when you're on the call here and you're talking to your participants, for example, is one thing you quite often will do is turn the volume up. And you can see the volume on my laptop and this going up. So I don't need to be in the room itself beside my laptop, so I can do it directly from, or I can do it from my laptop, whatever works. But one good feature as well is you'll see this is on mute. Most times you're on a call, it's very important to be able to know when it's on mute, and this is very clearly. And again, there is a mute button on the corner here, and there's a corner here, so anybody on that particular call can actually mute it just to go off that particular call there, and you can get an idea. And that's just physically switching it on there, switching it off. So anybody from any particular button can decide to say, put it on, switch it particularly off there. The audio will come through as would normally come through there, so you can listen to it, etc. on those ideas. The idea would be is on a conference, people around the room can have the call there, and you have all the usual settings that you would expect. Just using it for a YouTube video that we have done for the C2070. It's an older Konftel unit we've used in the past for the video. Just give you an idea of the audio itself, what can be actually used with it. And I had to hub. So this is just the idea of an old one.
With one cable connected, it connects your whole system in one particular conference
Again,
facility,
the volume
which
is
actually
connected
quite good to your laptop. And I suppose
if I want to also connect it via, I still have control. So if I'm listening to a normal YouTube, for example, I want to listen to something else, we get an idea. And that's just another product we've done in the past. But same things, it's just connected via the laptop or your phone. One of the nice features this particular unit has come with is the option to hang it facing from a ceiling, for example. And this is in essence what you actually come with. Turning it over, just going to unplug the wires just to not to damage anything. Comes with this particular nature there. And what actually happens is it comes with the screws provided. Looking very clearly, I can see there's an A and an A there, and they actually connect over here. So the idea is we screw this particular part down. Subsequently, once they're screwed, screws are provided. These two go particularly for this one here, and they have a separate 4 screws for the other ones over here. And they're Phillips screwdrivers, which is kind of annoying because you use it, Phillips screwdriver there, 2 different sizes. So those 2 are actually physically different sizes. And then you use an Allen key for here. And this is actually just fits on. So in reality this is mounted to the ceiling. That's dropped down there, and then obviously you tighten the Allen key and the whole thing actually just hangs from the ceiling. You can actually work it itself, and that's the idea if it works. Again, when it's connected through, the network cables is actually plugged in, and you can actually think. The cable supplied is a reasonably long cable, so that's quite good. There is award-winning design, etc. But for me personally, I'm not overly sure about the design physically, as in, when it's like that, it's not too bad. Anybody will have different types of screws. Anybody will have things will be not. Another slight niggle for me is when it's connected directly on the table, for example, it doesn't have a loop tray to actually prevent it from going around. So when I have it, actually, this is just pairing itself up. So it doesn't have a way of hiding it. If it's going into the ceiling, it's going through my bracket here. It's going up through it, which does actually work. But it's just the lights are the different color changes, and you can actually see how that actually works. And again, this is just powering itself up. In essence, call quality, I did actually have a few calls with colleagues, and they asked a couple of questions. The manual is phenomenal size in this particular unit itself. It's got a lot of information, really good. You can really go into the technical side of it if you want. You do not need to be a major techie there at the moment. I just did a quick demo of on your phone or on your laptop. The same principles apply. If you want to connect it to optional accessories, there is, for example, the cameras, and there's other units you can connect directly up to it. The only additional one I got was the mounting bracket, which comes with this particular one here. I also use the PoE switch just to get my power coming into it there. It doesn't come, so you would need that. And that's it just. And thank you for watching techbuzzireland. That's the Konftel 800, which comes with the ceiling mount as well. Thank you for watching.